You ready for good morning?
Just a minute. I have no idea. I can't see myself. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Here, I'm going to do it too.
Yeah,
Good.
One more time. See what I teach you? I teach you good stuff.
You do. You teach me awesome stuff.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Trisha and Max show.
Today it's Trish and Max.
What is it? The Max and Trish show. Same people. Makes no difference unless you're looking us up. Then you have to look for Max and Trish. Otherwise, in reality, it is a Trish and Max show. She's boss. She's the boss lady. She's always trying to boss me around.
I just edit you. I don't boss you.
Yeah, it's true. You edit me too. I'm like, what happened? Where's all my good stuff? Yeah. And you go, you crossed the line. I didn't cross the line. Well, maybe a little. But at least you don't have everybody I know mad at me because I tell all the stories about them. And then I go to bed and then I wake up in a panic and I go, oh my God, I can't say that. So I'll tell you another one. There's you can leave this one in because I don't care. There's a lady who lives here that I see every night who, the same people walk their dogs at the same time that I walk my dog. This woman, I'm sure everybody knows someone like her. She is so loud and so abrasive. And when she's talking to you about anything, she sounds like she's yelling at you. And she's not like old and deaf or anything. She's just loud and abrasive.
My husband says I'm loud. He's always
what?
telling me, my husband tells me I'm too loud. He says, stop yelling.
Oh, he just doesn't want you to talk anymore. That's, that's his thing. What's he going to say? Don't talk anymore. So he tells you, just talk lower and lower and lower until he can't hear you. It's an old trick.
Okay, you can continue.
She starts her conversation. She doesn't say hello. She just starts in the middle of a conversation as if you've been talking to her. So I see her last night and she comes up to me and she's yelling at me. You see the dog? You see how silky the dog is? I cut the dog myself. I was a hairdresser, and I saw I'm not spending no $80 to get my dog cut. I cut her myself. She looks just the same. She looks great. She looks even better. And I'm saving $80. I mean, I have my hair done for $10. I just had it cut. $10. Yeah, it looks like it was $10. It looks like you got ripped off. But just the way she talks, it's like you think she's going to hit you or something. I'm like, I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's looking at Moochie, and I'm like, don't look at Moochie. Moochie is not letting you cut her. And I'm going to spend the $80 to get my dog clean. But they don't understand, it's not, they're like $80 to get your dog. But when I get my dog groomed, I spend $80 and they cut her. They cut her really nicely. They clean her ears. They clean her eyes. They clean out her nose. They cut her nails. They wash her ass. They do things to her tushy that I'm not going to say. I mean, they do a lot more than when you go and get a haircut. They don't do your nails. They don't do your ass. They don't clean your ears. They don't stick things up your nose. I
I'm
mean,
glad.
these are, professional people that are keeping my dog clean and healthy. So I don't want my dog walking around looking all chopped up like her dog with, she probably doesn't cut the dog's nails. She doesn't clean the dog's teeth. They do all these things. And when we go for a haircut, they don't do it for us. So our haircut should be $10. Unless, they're really good at cutting, which if I'm going to have my hair cut, I want it to be by somebody who knows how to cut my hair.
You don't want me to do it?
I'll let you do it. You can cut my hair.
I cut mine.
You could cut my hair this much, and then I'll go and have it done professionally. It's always been long, but I just think at a certain time, you don't, it's okay because I can put it up in a bun and stuff. That's what old ladies do. They put their hair in buns.
Yeah, when is there's like a magic age you're supposed to like cut your hair and look like a dude? I look at these women and I'm like,
I can see where I'm starting to look like a dude.
I just, no, I can't do it.
You look like a little girl. You look like you're 7 years old. You
I
should
sound
put
like it.
bow in your hair.
You know what's really great? I know I sound young now, but I sounded really young 40 years ago when my kids were little, and the bill collectors would call and I'd answer the phone and they'd say, "Is your mommy there?" And I'd say, "No."
No, she left us all alone and nobody's been here. And I'm only 7 years old and there's no food in the house. Could you send us some money?
And they're okay. But I did not lie. My mother was not there.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, that came in handy.
Anybody called and asked for my mother, I would tell them, I would give them the phone number to the cemetery. You could probably still reach her there. My mother and my father are resting together in a hole for eternity.
That's what mine is.
So yeah.
All together.
My mother is on top of my father, where she belongs. And I'm sure my father's thrilled. I don't know about my mother.
Well, they were married for how many years were they married?
72.
Wow, that must have been really tough when he passed.
Not at all. He was like cramping her style.
Oh.
She had already, started with the flea market and he didn't want her going. So he was just cramping her style. And then he was gone and she was at the flea market every day.
And the casino.
Well, we did spend some time in the casino, but I had to put an end to that because that was costing a lot of money. And she's a maniac. She can't stop. I have to like pull her out.
I remember you used to take her all the time.
Well, never more than once a week.
That's all the time. We go like once a year.
Way too much. So, but she won quite a bit at times. And then one time I'm sitting next to this guy and he's winning. And we started to talk a little bit. And all of a sudden, one of the women, they had a room upstairs, a small gambling room that was for smokers. No, it was for non-smokers. So I always sat in the smoking room because the one upstairs there was nobody in there and it was always quiet and everything. So one of the ladies who worked there, she came over and she whispered something to him, and he got up and he walked away with her. And he said he would be back. And I didn't know what was going on, but she was like whispering stuff to him, and he was like, okay. And he followed her out, and he came back a little while later, and she was in the upstairs room. She worked there. She was in the upstairs room, and somebody hit a jackpot for $900 and left the ticket in the machine. So she came, and this guy, I guess, is there all the time. So they know him. And so she came and she told him, because she didn't, that would have been really bad for her to take the ticket out.
Yeah.
She would have got fired. So he said, I'll take it, I'll get it and I'll split it with you. And she said, no, I can't take the money. So
Wow.
she was actually very honest. And so he took the ticket and he got the money and he went, and he was playing and I left. And I was like, oh, why doesn't somebody give me money? So anyway, the next time I went, he was there again. And he said to me, yeah, he said like a day later when he was there, they came and got him. And yeah, and they knew everything. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, there's cameras everywhere.
cameras. Yeah. And they tried to do it like however, so that you couldn't see what he was doing, but they saw what he was doing. So he had to give the money back. And I think they did fire the lady.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they would. Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt bad because she was actually, very honest. She
Yeah.
wouldn't even take money from him. Well, I never played slot machines before. I used to go to, when I lived in California, when my parents started to make money with that store thing, they started to make a lot of money. And they were going to Vegas like once a month from New Jersey. And everything was comped. The casino, they used to go to the Sands, which isn't there anymore. The hotel paid for everything for my parents. They paid for the plane. They paid for all their meals. They gave them a big room. They flew me in from California so that my parents could see me. And they gave me my own suite. And they paid for all of my food. They paid for any shows that we wanted to see, which we got tickets for every show, but my mother would never go because we couldn't get her away from the crap
How
table.
much did they gamble?
Well, they put up to go there. They put up 10,000 each. So they had.
And that was a long time ago.
Of 20,000.
Yeah, that was what, 20, 30 years, 50 years ago?
Yeah, 15 years ago, probably.
Oh.
So, I would play blackjack. I'd sit there all night long playing blackjack. Sometimes I play craps, but mostly I play blackjack. And if I lost all of my money, they would give me money. And you could hear my mother all over the casino. My mother used to bring this whistle, like a big, loud whistle. Whether she was winning or losing, she was having such a good time. She was blowing that whistle. She'd scream and yell. I mean, she'd lose and she'd be like, yay! But they loved her because, she really like amped up the place. And that was when the mob owned the casinos. And like the Sands was where Frank Sinatra was, and Dean Martin and the Rat Pack. You probably don't know who they are.
Sinatra, I love Sinatra.
Oh, okay. Finally. You're a sign of the times. But this was not the 50s. So, but yeah, I mean, it was really great. We saw Elvis. But like I said, my mother would never leave the crab table. So even though we had the tickets, she wouldn't go. My mother really didn't care about, anything but gambling. And in the end, her flea markets. But yeah, they were really.
Well, flea markets are kind of like gambling because you usually buy stuff with the intent to make money, and maybe you won't, maybe you will.
Yeah, but she used to just, I guess she hooked up with some people that clean out houses when people die or something. And then she would go there and she would get all of the, all the, not furniture, but anything, that wasn't furniture, not clothes, but mostly, tchotchkes and kitchen crap and, just anything. And
now my mom used to do this. She didn't do the flea markets. She opened a thrift store. She used to go and get the storage units that nobody pays for. You don't pay for it, you lose your stuff. And yeah, so she'd go to the auctions there, and she just had an eye for it. She would look in and say, okay, there's something in this one, and people wouldn't bid on it, and she'd know. I don't know, she had an instinct, and she was right every time. But yeah, she made good money on furniture. Yeah.
I don't even know if my mother made money. It wasn't about the money.
My mom did make money.
My mother was like so happy. She'd be like, and the flea market she went to was all like low lifes. And my mother would go, and my mother'd be wearing her 7-carat diamond ring, and her 2-carat diamonds, earrings, and her necklace. And I'd say, you can't go there wearing that stuff. And she was like, look at me. Do you think any of these people know these are real? Is anybody going to hit me over the head because they think that I'm wearing, cubic zirconia? I'm like, yeah, you really don't look like you're wearing anything real. So just leave her alone. But I mean, she was really like a crackpot, because she would go there and like you wait in the morning to get in line, and she would go like to the van in front of her, and she would start going through their stuff in the back of their van to, look for stuff to buy from them, and, waste no time. And like one guy, he said they all knew her. She was there. She never missed a day. And she opened the back of the van, the door went up, and she had her head in there, and the door came down and hit her in the head and cracked her head open. And they called an ambulance, and the ambulance was taking her to the hospital, and she woke up. And she was like, I'm okay. Just take me back to the flea market. And she's blood all over the place. And they're like, yeah, we can't take you back to the flea market. You have to go to the emergency room. They took her to the emergency room, and they left her sitting in the room. So she just got up and called the cab and left. Went back to the flea market. She told them, I'll come back when I'm done. And she did. And we used to go out for breakfast after she finished the flea market, and she's wearing this hat. And I said, why are you wearing a hat? And she said she was wearing like a baseball hat, and she never wore, a hat like that. And she said, nothing, it's nothing. And I'm like, what do you mean it's nothing? What are you talking about? Why are you wearing a hat? And she's like, don't talk in front of your father. And then later, she takes the hat off, shows me, she cracked her head open. She did go back and get stitches.
Oh, she did.
But she didn't want to show my father. I'm like, are you going to sleep in your hat? she's like, oh, you give me such a hard time. And then another time she fell, same thing. Like nothing was gonna keep her from finishing her route. This will interest you. This is interesting. This guy started building houses with 3D printers. The 3D printer spits out this tube of cement, and you just go, you make the shape that you want for the house, and you just go over and you do logs of cement over each other, and you have a cement house. And like he did one that was like wavy, actually really nice. And this is something new. And he did the entire house out of 3D printer.
Did you see it on TV? Or is like something you've seen?
I either saw it on TV or on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, no, that would be cool. I know we have a few 3D printers, but they take so long.
I know, but they were showing this one.
That'd be cool to be able to like design and
he was able to build a house in a week.
That's interesting. I wonder how you do the like plumbing and all that stuff and the electrical.
Well, yeah, they did it. I mean, for stuff that you can't do, you can get people to do. But he seemed,
and you would think, is there like rebar in there? I mean, cement you wouldn't think would be like.
You're asking me boring questions. I've already told you everything I know.
Sorry.
I barely know what I told you, which was the main part. 3D printer house.
All right, Maxine, I'm going to go fact check you now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm curious, though.
Fact shaming me. I keep telling you, my facts are always wrong, but close. So don't quote me. And if you look it up, you keep it to yourself, because I know all I want to know, and I like it.
All right. Well, Maxine, I got to go look that up because it sounds cool.
No. You can look it up.
I mean, Maxine, I have a lot of work to do. I have to finish your website. I'm on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.